This is a Ben Frank Connection presentation.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi there.
What's up? What's going on?
Hi.
We're back.
Yeah,
Another episode.
we're here.
We're off to the races at this point. We've already surpassed 10. We're just going.
It's just, listen,
We're just cruising.
We're just looking ahead. So here we are, episode 11 of Wrestling with Life. Thank you for joining us again.
Yes, as always.
Great to see you. Of course, you know, if you are enjoying what we're doing here at Wrestling with Life, please like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate
Join the
all the support.
Patreon for
Join
early
the Patreon.
access.
You get 5 day
5
early
days
access.
earlier.
Yeah.
Come on.
If you're watching this, you're watching it on a Friday, but if you were a patron, you could be watching it on
a Monday.
So, and we've got some other nifty little nifty gifties over there in the Patreon for you. So please head over to patreon.com.
Support the channel.
/ Opinion City Pod.
Yes.
Check it out. We would love to have you as a Patreon. And with that in mind, let's get right into it, Sean. We've got another big episode here. We're excited for this one. Yep.
Yeah, we're super excited. We had him kind of abruptly on our post show for Russell John, which was kind of fun that he kind of popped in here. It was fun to have
good times.
Have almost like a 4-man booth, if you will, for a while.
Yes. Well, before we announce him, let me say we have been promised.
Oh, that's right.
We normally have shenanigans on that show. We have been promised at least one single shenan.
Just
so
there
will be one single shenan today. Guaranteed.
With that said, let's bring in the shenan man.
Let's do it.
Scott Holladay.
All right.
Scott Holladay here.
There he is.
There he is.
That.
So much.
Wow.
Look at him.
Yeah.
With his
I
brick
just
wall.
got new brick.
New brick.
It's amazing.
Fresh brick.
Looks
in the
fantastic.
Studio.
Fantastic.
That
looks
must be
amazing.
from all your sweet WrestleMania week money.
Yes,
right.
yeah,
You're right.
Your big WrestleMania week jobs.
Yes.
Let's get into that a little bit. How was your WrestleMania week?
What I suffer from an affliction I call the more monster, where I always feel like I'm not doing enough,
right?
And then I'm like, I gotta get more.
Yeah.
And I got through WrestleMania, and I was like, I think I did enough. But it ended up being like I think I counted 10 shows because I also counted podcasts that I did.
Jesus. So why don't we break it down a little bit? Why don't you bring us through your week? Let's start with Monday and let's see what was your schedule like?
What was life like?
Well, luckily Monday and Tuesday I just sat back and watched
good
IWTV.
Good.
Wednesday was when things really started at Wrestle John.
Yes.
Which was, man, what a great show Wrestle John was.
Fantastic show all around.
Incredible.
It was such a good show, yeah.
Capacity crowd. The tent was packed.
Full venue in the rain. No one cared. It was crazy.
Great. It was one of those things where, like, we were worrying up until the moment. And then we walked in. I was like, a tent? Yes, we are saved. So did that. And then I jumped on the post show with you guys.
Thank you. By the way.
Yeah.
Which, is that show up anywhere?
We are working on that.
It's postponed for now. We're working on it.
We had some audio issues that first night. And we're working on getting the audio taken care of. The video is all there. We just have to
the video is fine. It's just the audio needs to be fixed up.
Clean up the audio a little bit. So that should be out eventually. We're still working on getting that all cleaned up.
It's like some jerk stole a microphone.
Right.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened, man.
It was just, listen, I sat down on the couch and it was just madness ensued.
Yeah, it was just crazy. As soon as we sat down, it was just crazy.
Yeah,
ABJ was there. You kind of just tumbled in.
Hopped right in.
I think it was because of a headlock. I think ABJ put you in a helock, and that's how it all started.
No, I put him in a headlock.
Oh, it was the opposite. It was the opposite. Okay.
If you check out my YouTube channel, +2 Wrestling.
Yes.
There.
Right
I did a whole episode on every event going on WrestleMania weekend.
Right.
And I kept saying, and at this event, Anthony Blackwell's going to be there doing commentary unless I choke him out. And I just kept saying that as a joke. And then I saw him on your show, and I was like, this is my moment.
This is my chance.
This is my chance.
So I grabbed him.
Yes.
And then on that show, we talked about how he was doing suplex.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna show up and take your job. And he was like, why would you do that? That was that was foreshadowing for later.
Right.
Of course.
Right.
And Thursday was Euphoria.
Yep. Another great show. Phenomenal.
So like the weather was so much nicer.
It was much better than Wednesday for sure. Much less damp on the feet because a bunch of us were sitting we're staying in just puddles and our feet were just like shrinking. Just from
it was wild.
Yeah, it was definitely, and that was a tough. I mean, it was a smaller crowd because it was a tough time slot for the week, but still, people who missed a great show.
A fantastic show.
Yeah.
Mal versus Makowski
was such a good match. Oh God,
yes, absolutely.
And my match of the weekend was Daniel Makabe versus Edith Sorrell.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool. That was another great match.
Yeah.
It's sad that we may never see him in the Northeast again.
Yes. I'm currently working towards getting him to come back.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Right.
We'll see.
Right.
Right. And I couldn't stay for the main event, which I saw like spots of, but the Fresh Air 2 out of 3
Yes.
Oh, it was, dude, if you go back and watch it, I'm telling you, that for me, that was match of the week. Just
I saw things.
Those 4 went out and did everything they possibly could to each other. I saw things like he said. I thought
I saw things I've never seen.
I saw the chicken fight.
It was nuts. The whole thing was just wild.
Yeah.
It was those two teams are gonna go far. Those 4 are so
they
talented.
Killed it. They
so
absolutely
talented.
killed it.
Yeah.
Because I had to go to Super Crazy in Gloucester for Combat Fights Unlimited's No Escape.
Gotcha.
So I was there for that. That was fun. Tim Dynamite versus Marcus Mathers, and I think it was Marcus's like 6th match of the week.
Right.
I still haven't talked to Marcus Mathers. I worked 2 shows he was on, and we never actually crossed paths. But man, Marcus Mathers, I think, was my MVP of the weekend.
Oh, he put on some fantastic matches the entire week.
He had that match at what was it? Not the Hustle Cup. It was something else at H2O. But it was versus Zeta Steel, and it was his first match of the week. And it was incredible. Yeah. And I tweeted at him, I was like, you have so much more this week. Slow down.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And for how young he is, to be this good already, it's just incredible to think about.
The fact that we had a Nick Wayne match for free on Saturday, that to me was nuts. That to me was just wild.
I'm getting there.
You're jumping the gun there, Sean.
I know. I'm just excited. I'm just excited that I got to see that in person for free without paying any sort of money at all.
Yeah, Suplex blew me away because Friday at Suplex, I was hosting a stand-up comedy show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Awesome.
So, which was like, it was so weird because Friday night we were up against like NXT.
Oh yeah,
Supercard of Honor.
Yes. Friday was a rough night.
Friday was a crazy night.
I think it was. I forget what was at the Collective. It was either like Joey Janela or Blood.
There was all of them.
Yeah,
just
something
all
huge. But we still had a really fun comedy show. But like during the show, people would come in and be like, "Is this the Supercard watch party?" I'm like, "No, it's just me telling jokes."
No, just me.
I just said yes. Me. Come in, sit down. We'll show you a Supercard.
But that was a lot of fun. There was a lot of wrestlers on the show. It was me, Laura Crane. George W. Boss from the CZW days.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a name you hadn't heard in a while.
No, that's yeah.
And then some like great local Philadelphia comics. It was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And then while I was there, I got wind that the Suplex Mania show on Saturday, there was going to be a battle royal.
Yep.
And I just kind of announced, because that's how you do it. I was like, "Oh, I'm in that."
Right.
I'm 100% in that.
I'm in that.
So like, I showed up on Saturday for Suplex Mania to wrestle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I had my gear and I was like, yeah, I'm going to jump in. And everyone was like, oh, okay, cool. And Billy Avery was in charge.
Yeah.
And like, as the day was going on, he was getting more and more stressed to the point where he's like, is it okay if you just don't?
You just don't. Just don't. Just please, just don't.
I can hear him in my head saying that right now.
Just don't.
And I was like, sure, Billy. But I had been like around and helping out, so they were able to get enough headsets. So it was me, ABJ, and someone from Suplex. His name was JA, and we were a fantastic booth. I thought, like, as a 3-man booth, we really gelled. And that was supposed to be a Royal Rumble like rules. The Royal, and the ring announcer didn't know, so we waited until there was 4 people to be like, stop announcing people. Wrestling needs to happen.
Right.
Yes.
My favorite part about that whole match was there are moments because Billy wrestled the match. He was like one of the first few in the match. In the middle of the match, you can see at certain points if he hits the spot, you can see him look to the announcer and go, and then he gets back into the he was so like there was one point where he was in front of us, he fell, and I see him go like.
I love Billy.
Next.
Billy's great.
Dude, he had a hell of a week too. That man. I love Billy, but he went crazy too. He did 2, shows back to back, and then he ended up doing that. I'm like, you're nuts, man. You're nuts. Yeah. Good for you, but you're nuts.
Because if you notice, if you watch that, I don't have my glasses on because I was planning to wrestle. So I don't have my signature look.
Yes.
The first match, because I kind of got thrown in there, I didn't know was Nick Wayne.
Yeah, that was like a surprise for you, wasn't it?
So I was like, Marcus Mathers came out, and I tried to shake his hand as he walks by. I'm like,
dude, that's on camera. I saw it. It's hilarious. That's a bit all its own.
Please,
is you're like, okay,
damn,
cool, all right.
and then it was against Nick Wayne, and God, Nick Wayne is so good at wrestling,
dude. Yeah, that match was just a phenomenal match from top to bottom. Fair. It was just great. The fact that it was on first to me is almost a crime because that was a hit. That was main event worthy 100%.
Well, they had other places to go.
Of course, of course.
Very busy guys.
So that was Saturday, and then Sunday I was at Superpowers of Wrestling.
Okay,
for their show in Burlington, which was Homicide versus Too Cold Scorpio.
Oh wow!
Jeez, wow,
yeah, that's a match.
That's incredible.
Jordan Oliver versus Johnny Cashmere.
Ooh,
so a lot of good stuff, a lot of fun. It was a 2-ring event. We had a ring outside that was a steel cage match, and then we had a ring inside.
Cool.
Exciting.
We had the first ever exploding broom closet match.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
There's your shenan right there. There it is. There's your shenan.
That's why I love indie wrestling, because you get
an exploding
like
broom closet. So what exploded in the broom closet?
So it was we had Pat Dynamite, and then you had Joe Clean. So the Master of Dynamite versus the Master of Clean, you put those together, exploding broom closet.
Right.
So it was half cinematic.
Okay.
They were just battling throughout the fire hall or
that's amazing.
The fire station.
Yeah.
Right.
And they didn't it was my first time seeing it. So I kept accidentally giving away the punchlines.
Oh no.
Because I was calling the action.
Right.
There's a great moment where Mr. Clean has a vacuum. And he's kind of looking for Pat Dynamite, who jumps out with a sheet over his head like a ghost.
Oh no.
And I was like, what is this, Luigi's Mansion? And I was like, man, great job, Scott. You nailed that joke. And then it cut to footage of Luigi's Mansion.
Yes.
The video game. I was like, I ruined
it. You called it out too soon. It out too soon. Too soon, man. So did you actually go to either Mania night or no?
I did not. So I went to WrestleMania. What was it? 29. Roxy.
Same.
Yeah.
My first.
I had floor seats. They were $400 a piece.
Yeah.
When I say floor, though, understand that means if you're in the back,
you can't see anything.
You can't see anything. So I was like under the stage. Like I was right where Bob Backlund was when he came out to be like, I'm in the Hall of Fame now.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
I got you.
So I was so disappointed in that WrestleMania because like the one thing I wanted was the Dolph cash-in. Right. And then that happened the next night
day,
of Raw.
Yep. You're like, I see you. Yeah. I see you.
All right. It'd be amazing if his gimmick was like the show stealer and he stole the show at Mania.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Of course.
So I looked at my like schedule and I was like, I don't want to spend a bunch of money and then be at WrestleMania tired and exhausted and like yelling at myself, have fun.
Right.
This was expensive. Have more fun. Yeah. So I was just like, I'm gonna watch this at home. So
yeah. So
he was there both nights.
Yeah, when they first announced Mania coming back to Philly, my wife and I, she knew how much I had been waiting for it to come back to Philly because she knew what I had been doing. For a good year, I had been consistently on a weekly basis emailing the mayor's office in Philadelphia to ask them to put in for a bid, not knowing that like this thing was in the plans for like the last 4 years.
Whole time.
They've known they were going there for a long time, but I was very adamant about it. So we made plans very early on to start, working towards going to Mania. And it was funny. You mentioned, about spending all this money and have a good time and this stuff. And she knows because I've been to 2 Manias previously. I was at 20 in New York and I was at 25 in Texas. And she saw all my pictures and she's like, you're not going to be sitting there taking pictures the whole time. You're actually going to enjoy this, right? I'm like, yeah, I think this one I will. So
I think photos.
We took some photos. She took a couple photos because we were in club seats, but I had one of those phones that does, like the really, really far zoom. So we
his
took a
camera, man, I'm an iPhone guy, always have been, but seeing his camera and seeing how far it can zoom, he showed me a picture of the moon, like clear as day. He zoomed all out. It's wild.
That's become my hobby when I take that, because I have a Samsung S23. So when I take the dog out at night, I'll take the phone with me and I'll take pictures of the moon. Like, I don't know. It's become a hobby.
So I hate to burst your bubble here, but is it a legitimate? Yeah, is it a legitimate picture of the moon? Because a lot of phones, when you take a picture of the moon, it superimposes a crisp image over it.
Oh no,
so it looks better.
Oh no, it's the moon.
Yeah,
there's
well, I'm in on his craters phone, and stuff.
It's the moon.
I've seen things on the moon that want me to get that make me want to get a lunar map and find out what I'm looking at, because there's things on the surface of the moon that are just shouldn't be there. Well, anyways.
Well, like one last little example just to prove to you that it's not a lie. For example, where he lives, his backyard, there's a beautiful shot of the mountains, and in the mountains there was like a tower. He showed me. He was watching this. He zoomed in into the tower. Clear as day, and it's wow, and it's miles crazy. Away, and I'm like, that's nuts.
But either way, so we took a few pictures at Mania, but we mostly just kind of enjoyed our time there. I will say, and nothing against. I'm not a big LA Knight fan, so my good friend Sean here and ABJ were streaming night 2. They were like doing a live stream during night 2, so I took the LA Knight match opportunity to hop on the stream live from Mania and show the stadium.
Cool.
That was kind of fun. But
that's fun.
We really didn't do anything Mania weekend because we were pretty much just gearing up for those 2 shows. We did drop them off at Suplex and then head back to the hotel to get ready to go to Mania. I will say that's the one thing I think of the entire week that I regret not being able to go to. Even though I did get to go to Mania, missing Suplex, I kind of, because by all accounts that was just a fantastic time, and I think I would have enjoyed it.
The roads were special. You couldn't see the end of either street. it was packed from end to end. Like,
Oh, I'm sure.
like where I was, it didn't even do justice. It wasn't until I watched a clip of ABJ's videos where he got in the ring and did an out shot. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah,
crazy.
that's awesome. Well,
But-
that's good for wrestling.
Yeah.
That's good for everybody involved.
But so let's wind the clocks back and kind of talk about your history a little bit.
Ooh,
Sure.
For
turn them
instance,
clocks back.
you started down in Chikara. I know. I saw you were there as Scott Holladay.
It's true that I was in Jakarta. That's not my start.
No, but like
see?
your early
But-
beginnings, if you will, your early beginnings.
That was my big return. I had retired from wrestling.
Okay.
And Jakarta got its teeth in me and brought me back in.
Yes.
So,
Yes, as they do. So let's talk about where you got your start and how you kind of got into this crazy world of wrestling.
so the very beginning was a place called Awesome Wrestling.
Okay.
And that was down, it was like a Jersey Shore promotion.
Ooh.
And basically, I was like the wrestling guy in college. And
Right.
someone else was like, "Oh, I'm actually in wrestling," and I went, "Oh, awesome!" And he went, "Yeah, that's the name of the company." I was like, "Perfect."
Yes, I love that.
That's great.
So if you look back, you can actually find because like very recently, like maybe even like today, like would be my debut in wrestling. So this would be like around my 16-year anniversary.
Oh, wow.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And we did a show called Totally Awesome Wrestling.
Nice.
Where we would like throw to the events and then we'd show the matches. It's all on YouTube still. And like the first thing I ever really say in the world of professional wrestling, it's weird to go back and see this. It's like, all right, let's take us to our first match. It's Dr. K versus Jumping Joey Janela.
Oh, wow.
That's the first.
Crazy.
Yeah.
First line. That's nuts.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
So that's how I got started. And then from there, I just kind of like hung around. Like I was one of those guys where it's like, you know, I got trained to be a ref. I trained to be in ring for a bit. And I was also a stand-up comedy guy. And through stand-up comedy, I met Corey Castle and Gabby Gilbert, who was going by Roxy Cotton at the time. We were just kind of like, I was supporting them with comedy. They were supporting me with wrestling.
Right.
I just got wrapped up in the tornado. So I was at a place called DWF and Loco for a bit.
Okay.
I did World One, which was Steve Carino's company
nice.
for a bit.
Wow.
Nice.
Steve Carino, great stand-up comedian.
Oh, yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
talk about that.
Okay.
We used to do stand-up together. And because Colby was at WrestleJohn. I hadn't seen Colby since he was like 14.
Wow.
And I was just like,
wow.
and I was like, "Do you remember me?" He's like, "No." And I was like, "I used to do stand up with your dad." He was like, "Ah, yeah."
Right.
Now I know who you are.
Now I know who you are. Yeah.
You're that guy.
You're that guy.
So I did that, and then I kind of stepped away from wrestling for a while, and then slowly but surely, just the way things grabbed me, and a good friend of mine that I met through wrestling, his name's Mike Goldstein.
Okay.
He came to me with an idea for a new company called Cosplay Pro Wrestling. Are you guys familiar?
Okay.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
So Cosplay Pro Wrestling was kind of Mike's brainchild, but like I was like, let's make this very special and like let's do this up. So every once in a while I don a suit jacket and I become the devious Giovanni of Team Rocket.
Oh,
and,
okay.
I tried to destroy the company.
Nice.
Love it.
Not nice.
But I'll tell you, this is one of my favorite stories. Our first show ever was at Gloucester County College, which is now a like part of Rowan.
Yeah.
And we were at an event called KatoriCon. And
Basically,
we're like, well, what do we want to do to like make this really special? Like, here's the matches I'm thinking, here's the costumes we have. And what was supposed to be the main event was Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece.
Nice.
Versus Connor from Assassin's Creed.
Wow.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
all right.
So I go, hey, I got a great idea for a finish. What if Connor goes under the ring and pulls out a bunch of hay.
Oh,
and dumps hay on him, and then he can go up and do the leap of faith. And everyone's like, "Well, that's an amazing idea."
That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope.
In my mind, it's like he goes into the ring, he grabs some handfuls of hay, and he dumps it, and then he does a swanton.
Right.
So he hits a move, and we're in a theater, so we're on a stage.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm peeking through the curtain like, this is it. I wonder how people are going to react. And he gets out of the ring and goes backstage. I was like, that's weird. And he comes back with an entire trash bag of hay.
Oh my God.
And he just dumps this whole thing and buries Luffy.
Oh my God.
Oh no. Because after this is supposed to be an impromptu battle royal.
Oh no.
The
There's
ring
hay
is
everywhere.
full of hay.
Oh
And
boy.
So I grab all of Team Rocket and I'm like, okay, the plan is we're supposed to go in there and we're supposed to jump them. When we jump them, we're going to start throwing the hay at them to get it out of the ring.
Right.
Brilliant.
So he does the leap of faith. The crowd's like chanting leap of faith. Like
nice.
It's beautiful. We hit the ring, bang, we knock them out, we throw them out, we start throwing this hay, and I'm quickly realizing every time I throw hay, it just kind of disintegrates and then it becomes part of the atmosphere.
Wow.
So,
Oh jeez.
You can see this entire show on YouTube on the Cosplay Pro Wrestling channel.
I might have to check it out just because of that.
I'm cutting a promo and there's just like particles.
Just dust.
Just everywhere.
Right.
And then we get attacked by Uncle Yo, who's a comedian, CM Pikachu.
Yes. I remember CM Pikachu.
Sailor Jupiter.
Yes.
And I forget who the fourth person is. So like we bail and they're like, let's have a battle royal right now. And we send one of our guys like to the other side of the ring so they turn around. This way we can jump them from behind.
Right.
I get in the ring and just slip on hay and eat it immediately.
Oh no.
It was a mess. And we got banned from the college.
No, that's horrible. Oh, it's such a great story.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh my God.
Oh man.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so you can check out Cosplay Pro Wrestling. We'll be at the Too Many Games Expo at the end of June.
Yes.
Hey,
Too many
there you
games.
go.
Too many games is great.
Yeah, Too Many
I
Games
love
is
Too
fantastic.
Many Games. I have tried to go for many years. I've never been able to get everything. It just never works out date wise. But
Right.
yeah, that's a thought because
Well, you should come and interview all the Cosplay Pro Wrestlers.
yes, I should.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That would be great.
But so how did you come up with the actual name Scott Holladay? Where did that come up?
Birth certificate.
It's so
Right.
It's so silly. I was told I couldn't use my real name in Chikara.
Right.
So because I had been doing everything as Noah Houlihan until till Chikara, and they're like, you got to have a new name. And
No shock.
Yeah. And my big thing was I wanted a one syllable name and a 2-syllable name. Like that was the idea. And I was like playing with a bunch of stuff, and the one name that kept coming back, and I was almost Homer Depot.
Oh man,
that would have went out pretty well, I think.
That would have fit right in because they have a history of the coming up with ridiculous names.
Yeah,
like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
But eventually, like I always liked the name Scott, and I was sitting with my wife, and in my living room we have this big Back to the Future.
Cool
poster,
nice.
And we were looking at it, and she was just like, Doc, Great Scott, Doc Holladay, Scott Holladay. And I was like, there it is.
Wow.
Brilliant.
There it is.
It's like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but 6 degrees of Noah Houlihan.
Yeah, exactly. And it was
it.
so funny because like I loved it. We picked that name.
Yeah.
And then like a few days afterwards, I was like, oh, you know what would have been a good gimmick? Because we had this big talk in Chikara about tweeting and like how social media works and how if you just promote, you become a commercial channel and nobody cares. So you have to find other things to talk about. And I was like, I should have picked something that would let me like say what the Holladay was every day.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I did. I picked Scott Holladay. So the first year of Chikara, it's just me every day being like, hey, it's haiku day. Happy haiku day.
Right.
And it was when I pitched it to Mike Quackenbush. What I said to him was, I'm torn between two names, Scott Holladay or Mark Barkenshrub. And I was saying it just to be a jerk.
Right.
And he looked at me and he was like, Mark Barkenshrub. And I was like, no.
No.
Gotta be Scott Holladay.
Yes.
Of course,
great.
he would pick the most ridiculous one, not the.
Oh man, you walk in that room there and you just tell him, listen, my name's gonna be Max Moon.
Yes.
He would love that.
He would go. It's a great idea. It's a fantastic idea.
That's a great name. I've heard
so
that somewhere
well.
before, but that's a great name.
Speaking of, you mentioned earlier that you wrestled a little bit. How many matches have you actually wrestled?
So according to Cage Match 1,
Right.
just my loss to the spoiler.
Just one.
Yes.
But if you also count my cosplay wrestling matches, it's probably in like the 20s.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Gotcha.
Giovanni lends to being a good chicken shit heel. So
right.
it's a lot of tag matches and like, because when it started out, like all I was supposed to do was kind of like battle royals and like these little things.
Easy
and then
ones.
Me and this other comedian who would do conventions, Uncle Yo, we kind of had this like rivalry, and we kept like building more of it. And it was like, okay, we've already fought in a battle royal. I think we got to have like a tag match. And then we had a tag match, and I was like, this is going pretty well. I think we have to have a match. And Mike was like, do you think you'll have like a good match? And I was like, no.
Not at all.
But I think I think I can make it entertaining.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
And he was like, okay. And I talked to Uncle Yo about it, and Uncle Yo was going to retire from comedy.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God, can we have a match where you put your career on the line? He was like, yes.
Oh,
I was like,
genius.
yeah, let's do it.
Love that.
So I was like, Mike, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have this match. Like, we're promoting it. We're doing all this stuff. And Mike goes, okay, so you make the match. You come in, low blow, schoolboy. I was like, no.
No.
We're gonna need more time than that.
We're gonna do a match.
And again he asked, like, do you think you have a good match with him? And I went, absolutely. And as I heard myself saying that, I was like, well, where did that come from?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So like
great.
I talked him into this match, and I grabbed Uncle Yo, and Uncle Yo is completely untrained. And I was like, all right, so we're going to keep it real simple. We're going to build an entire match around chops, because that's something we can safely do to one another that will like get a big thing. But like, this is going to be your only time ever having a singles match. What's something you want to do? And he said, I want you to clothesline me over the top rope. And I said, okay. What's a second thing you do?
Yeah.
Because that won't be happening.
Right.
So
and he's like 450 splash.
Right.
And you're
Right.
like,
Yeah. We're like, all right, that I can work with. So we put together this match that I was very proud of. And I remember we were at a convention called Anime Next, which was in the Atlantic City Convention Center. And the show almost didn't happen because the room we were supposed to be in was upstairs. And they're like, we're afraid that they can't hold the ring. I was like, okay. So we're trying to figure it out. So they were like, we're going to set you up in the hallway. And we're like, the hallway? So what ended up happening was they put the ring in the center of like this atrium, which was basically a hallway, but it was like a very big space. So the ring was there, and then fans surrounded it. Yeah. And then there was an escalator, and then there was like a second floor balcony, and fans surrounded it. And then there was a third floor, and fans surrounded it.
That's awesome.
So it was like the Roman Colosseum.
Right.
And I'm walking to the ring, my music is playing, and like usually I'm like screaming at the fans and stuff. And I was like, for this one moment, I'm gonna come out very quiet and just like reserved. Yeah. And so I just kind of like took the moment so I could fully look around. Yeah. And like realize what I was. And I was like, oh my God, there's like 700 people here. Yeah. And I'm going to wrestle my first one-on-one match in front of 700 people.
Wow.
And I'm the veteran in the match.
Right. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy!
right.
So
terrified.
I love the match. Unfortunately, the ending falls apart because there's a bunch of run-ins that like don't go 100% correct. But the match almost gets stopped because we built it all around chops. Yeah. So I take Uncle Yo to the outside and I'm chopping him in front of the fans. Like, look what I'm doing to your hero. Look what I'm doing to your hero. Yeah. And So as payback, he holds my arms behind my back and offers me to the fans, like chopping. Yeah. And everyone in the back was not aware of this, and they were like, "What's Noah doing?" And my wife goes, "Oh, that's our friend Paul. He's a plant," and he chops me in the chest. And then we moved to the next guy, and everyone went, "Who's that guy?" I'm like, "No idea."
No idea.
It's so fun, and like I love doing stuff I shouldn't do.
Right, you're like, I'm gonna break the rules. Whatever rules you have, I'm gonna do the opposite of that rule.
This is the thing I've always said about like doing comedy and doing shows and stuff. I'm at my most comfortable when my back's against the wall and like I'm in a position where I should not do well, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get through this. We're gonna have a good. That's why I put this wall up. I feel most at home.
Right. But most safe
right here
with that wall. Exactly.
Yeah. So, we talked a little bit about Chikara. Do you have any interesting or crazy Chikara stories you want to tell?
Let's see. What can I say about Chikara? God, Chikara was so fun. It's a shame I joined like right when they stopped traveling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because this isn't my story to tell, but I'll tell it. A good friend of mine was their ring announcer.
Okay.
And he did like the Chicago loop with them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And he got fired because the first thing he said over the mic was the F word.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Canceled.
So like he's on tour and he's like, I think the very first thing he says in Chicago is like, "We're sold out here in Chicago." It's a big fucking deal. And like
it's a big fucking deal.
That was a story I was told over and over again, and then I found out later that it was my friend Alex Perlman.
Oh, okay.
Who you might know from Pearlmania 500. There's a plug.
Wow.
So
that's a heck of a way to go.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So like I came in like right around after that, and I'm trying to think of like some real good like shenanigans.
Oh, hey.
Yes, we're all about that here.
I know one of the things that got pitched that never happened that. And by that I meant I pitched it. And nobody.
Okay, right.
But there was the battle with the Crucible and Chikara when they were like coming to a head.
Yes,
right.
There was a bit of a discussion of this idea that the golden opportunity that Ophidian was going to use, he was going to take over the Wrestle Factory.
Yeah.
And I started like when this was like being floated around, I started playing with this idea that I didn't work for Chikara, I worked for the Wrestle Factory.
Oh, okay.
So there was a little bit of time where like the Crucible was going to take over the Wrestle Factory, and it was going to get all dark, and like they were going to destroy things, and I was just going to quietly be in the background, just like I came with the building.
Yeah.
You're stuck with me now.
I'm just here.
Yeah, the big inspiration for Scott in Chikara was Scooter the Muppet.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah, so like
Nice.
that was kind of my through line because like I had this weird dynamic that I was told never to be like a Bobby the Brain Heenan heel character, but
Sure.
I was always supposed to be the one who put over the heel characters. Like I wasn't.
Okay.
So I was in this situation where I was like, I'm not a bad guy, but I'm supposed to kind of like air that way. How do I do that? And I was looking into like what makes a good baby face, what makes a good heel. And one of the things that makes a good baby face is they never take a step backwards. Like whenever they're faced with a challenge, they face it head on. They never just walk away. And I was like, oh, okay. Scott Holladay's a coward.
The opposite.
If you go back and you listen to me on commentary in the Chikara days, I'm always putting over like the Proteus wheel and Murloc, and it's because I'm always afraid of them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So like I think at one point I say something like Murloc I think could be world champion. Please don't hurt me.
Please
Right.
don't hurt me.
So the psychology behind it.
Yeah.
Like I wish I still had it, but back in the Chikara days, I used to keep a Scott Holladay diary.
Oh yeah,
to kind of like keep the lore. And for the record, no one told me to do that.
You just started doing it.
It was one of the things where I was like, Chikara is so like lore rich that like I want to keep track of my things. And like for example, I remember I did an interview with Sonny Defarge.
Ooh, okay.
And I said like, Sonny, your match is coming up. What do you think about this? And his immediately responded with, "It's Mr. Defarge." And from that moment, I never call him Sonny again.
Nice.
It's always Mr. Defarge.
Mr.
From that moment.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It was just like Chikara was cool because it was such like a lore-rich company.
Yeah,
like,
there was
anything you do like could possibly.
It
like,
all mattered. Like even the small things, everything mattered. If you missed any nuance, and you and everything had a payoff, basically. Everything that they did had a payoff in some way. Except speaking of lore, speaking of payoffs, you know where I'm going with this, Ralph.
Yep.
We've been asking everybody that used to be in Chikara this question because we have to know. It's been on Ralph's mind for decades, ages,
I've been
eons.
obsessed with this.
And do you know if the Eye of Tyr still exists?
No, of course. That like I know the canon of this.
Yes.
Oh, do you? Please, can you please?
So,
can you please?
Yeah. Let's do this.
I don't think I'm revealing anything because this is.
Let's do this.
Very blunt.
Let's do it. Let's do
it. The Eye of Tyr is destroyed in a post-credit scene.
No.
See, here it is. See, listen.
Go ahead.
Listen.
You finish first. You finish first, and then I'll tell you what I got.
Okay, so you know what scene I'm talking about.
I do.
Okay, remind me. Is it Ophidian or is it Ultramantis?
No, it is neither of them. So at the Chicago season finale, listen.
The walls are coming down.
Wrong.
Listen, at the Chicago season finale, where it was basically, the Avengers-like team of Chikara people against the forces of Nazmul Dune. In that post-credit scene, it is Thunderfrog who has the Eye of Tyr, and he is shown in the woods, and he has it on like a stump, and he raises the hammer to smash the Eye of Tyr, and the screen cuts to black before we see anything.
Okay, so
we never officially see him destroy the eye.
Scott Holliday's here for you.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, let's go. Breaking news.
This is what I was told the canon was,
okay,
and
I'm ready.
I don't think we hid this, so I don't think I'm master magicianing anything.
Right, sure.
The moment that Thunderfrog destroyed the Eye of Tyr, created a pocket dimension. And that's when the events of the secret season took place.
Oh,
You're kidding me. I did not see. That's something I have
okay.
never heard.
Okay. Wow.
So the idea was when that happened,
yeah.
because the secret season is something that, one, I don't think it's talked about enough, because I think it was a brilliant thing.
Yeah, it was an awesome.
Unfortunately,
there
was like one or two things didn't work out right, and
yeah.
we wanted the whole season to be like ready to push play after Pro Wrestling Day that day.
Yeah,
that year,
yeah.
Because I love this moment so much, where it's National Pro Wrestling Day,
mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden Barksdale has a partner that we've never seen before,
mm-hmm.
and then they win a match, and they get 3 points, and everyone's like, "That's weird."
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Whatever. And then Ultramantis comes out.
That's the one that got everybody.
And he opens the coat and he has the title. And
nobody knows what's going on.
I was sitting in the back with Quack,
mm-hmm.
like glued to the screen, because we had worked so hard on this secret season. And I remember the moment where they show that, and then there's a shot of the crowd and jaws are dropping. And I looked over at Quack and he was texting someone. And I grabbed him and I was like, "This is the moment. Watch what you created."
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
This is it. We did it.
Right.
And basically, this was like during a time where like I had a very nebulous role in Chikara during the secret season, because like I was both like deep in it and not in it.
Right.
Because like I was deep in the like, how are we gonna fill the building without giving anything away? Like without like anyone finding out.
That's the most unbelievable part of that whole thing.
That's
is that you were able to do. You did 9 episodes and nobody had any idea. Like that just to this day, that blows my mind that you were able to pull that off.
If you really look for it, I'm sure you could find it. You can find a Craigslist post that I wrote saying like, we are filming an independent movie, I think I said.
Oh, wow.
About pro wrestling, and we need like extras and fans, not wrestlers. And we got a bunch of like wrestlers that are like, "This is my dream, please." And we're like, "No,
right.
Please.
This is not what we want." It was a lot of like bodybuilders that clearly didn't know what wrestling was.
Right.
No.
No.
But if you go back and watch them, there's a few that like are super packed because we made some deals with like, I think, a summer camp. And then there's other ones.
Oh, yes. I recognize that.
There's other ones where I'm front row. Like you can clearly see that it's me.
Yeah.
Right.
In like a Legion of Rot t-shirt.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah, like I just remember like having spreadsheets and just being like, okay, this date's filled. Let's try to get some people in this.
Yep.
And trying to get everything together. Just because like the idea of like there's an entire secret season of Chikara.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. And like the in-universe justification was that all happened when the Eye of Tyr was broken. And that's like a pocket dimension. Like that's why there was a time skip.
Missed that.
Yeah.
I don't know how I missed that.
I thought it was clear, but like you're not the first person to be like, I don't understand.
So wait. So here's an interesting story. So we had Sidney Bacabella on the show, and we talked to him, and he sort of, I mean, without exactly coming right out and saying it, he sort of hinted that the Eye of Tyr may still be out there somewhere. Yeah. So that threw some confusion into
That's why we're confused with your story, because he's under the impression that it might still exist.
There is rumors that because the destruction of it put us in a pocket dimension, that in that pocket dimension there was also an Eye of Tyr.
Yeah, okay.
And in that, and we may have accidentally brought it back with us.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
So, anybody who knows anything about me will know that I am hyper obsessed with Chikara and the lore and everything that happened. And the Eye of Tyr is obviously number one on my list. So at some point, at some point we're going to be doing some Chikara centric episodes where we discuss lore and things like that. So it sounds like we've got ourselves a little bit of a historian here. So we may need to
sort of
we may need to bring you in on some of those things. But you knew more about that situation than I did, and I'm very impressed by that, because I thought I did quite a good bit of research on the here. There's a really interesting there's a really interesting video on YouTube by a fan many years ago that did like a history of the Eye of Tyr and went through like all kinds of stuff. But that's always been my number one thing, is just that lore behind the Eye of Tyr. But we've got some explanations today. That's great.
There you go.
We got
breaking
some
news.
We got some
breaking news.
After 50 main episodes and 10 of these episodes, we finally got the answer we needed.
We're gonna tag that
10-year-old news.
Right.
That's a Wrestling with Life exclusive. Tag it. It's official. So so here's another question that I've been dying to ask you, and this is something that we discussed a little bit during WrestleMania week, but why don't you talk a little bit about your suit game when it comes to events? Because you, sir,
always rocking suits, man.
You're looking top tier right now for our show, but your suit games at shows is just on point on a different level.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting situation in that, like, I became known for this look, like the purple shirt and I don't know if you can see, this is an Aperture Science tie.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Very cool.
Good reference.
Yeah.
But when I first joined Chikara, like, I grabbed this purple shirt because I used to cosplay as Gambit. So I had a lot of purple shirts, and I grabbed this tie and I went, and it was a lot of fun. And on the first day, they were like, so Chikara is working with to get a video game created. So don't change up your look too much.
Action Arcade Wrestling.
Yeah. Yes. And
was on the banner for like 2 years.
Yeah.
coming soon, 6 years later.
But it was but back then it was just Chikara's game. That since they shut down, they just changed it to Action Arcade, but it wasn't a great name. It was like Chikara something. I forget the exact name of it, but
Chikara's mysterious video game.
Right.
Yes, right.
So I was like, okay, I'm not going to change up my look in case for some reason I'm in this video game.
Yeah.
So that's why throughout the entire history of Chikara, this is the only thing that I wore.
Gotcha.
So then I got, and then after like the Chikara shut down, and I was like, I'm done with wrestling.
Right.
I was like, again, done. I was doing the CPW thing, and then like with conventions being all shut down, there was like nothing left.
Yeah.
And then Gabby Gilbert called me up and was like, we are desperate. Do you want to come to CZW? And I was like, I can't think of a weirder place for Scott Holladay to be than the Combat Zone.
Right.
Yeah.
So I donned my purple shirt and I showed up, and one of the first things that happened is a fan walked up to me and went, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I get it.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I get it.
So boy. Feels weird to curse. I usually don't swear.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
You're all good.
But I was just being like normal Scott Holladay, and I was like, I don't know if I continue at CZW, if I should continue to be Scott Holladay, but I didn't know what to do. And I was told, I was like, that's really up to you, but you definitely need to dress better.
Like, wow. Bold statement.
It's a shot to get fired.
That's a bold statement.
And I was like, okay. So I was like, I guess I'm going suit shopping. So I went suit shopping, and the first thing I bought was a purple suit. I was like, I'm going to stay this way. And then the place I went was like, I got this suit, and they were like, the suits are buy one, get two free. I was like, really?
Nice.
More suits, please.
Yeah, right.
I got these suits, and it was the first time that I was changing my look and stuff like that. And it turns out I love Suits.
Oh, suits
So
are
does Ralph.
amazing. Oh,
So does
suits are
Ralph.
so.
Ralph loves Suits.
If I could dress in a
Suits.
suit every day, that's all I would wear is suits.
Yeah.
Barney Stinson was right.
Barney Stinson was right. Yeah, yeah.
Which is funny because like I went to college to be a teacher, and like I
Okay.
lived every day being like, I don't want to have to wear a suit every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now I'm
here
like,
you are.
Suits!
Here you are. Let's go. We had Suits.
And then after I got a bunch of suits, like I saw like a random TikTok of someone being like, this suit is also Colossus from X-Men. And I was like,
Oh, okay.
that is.
Okay.
And then I was just like, let's go through the suits. So the suit game for WrestleMania is when I really started to like really jump it up. So every suit I wore was a cosplay.
Nice.
So at WrestleJohn, despite the fact that I was in a closet and nobody saw me, I was Sailor Moon.
Nice.
Yes.
Which like I have bright red shoes and I love them.
Love it.
As a good outfit, I gotta say.
Yeah, it's good.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. That was
Enjoyed that.
Euphoria.
That was
WrestleJohn. I was Loki.
There you go.
yes, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, right.
Yes,
We tried to get
yes,
Whole
yes.
time.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Killing
then for when I went to CFU, I was Goku.
Nice.
I had a bright orange shirt,
Amazing.
or bright orange suit with a blue shirt and bright blue shoes.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
That one looked terrible, but I did it.
But you did it, and that's
I did
what's
it.
important. It's what's important
Yeah.
is that you
Yes.
is that you put it off. Now, you mentioned it a few times, so I got to bring it up, and I feel like I feel like we brought it up more times now than I can. But it's because it's happening right now. Have you been watching X-Men '97?
I had like it's weird. I really feel like I should be.
Oh my god, you
because
should be. You
Like,
absolutely should be.
I do comic book
Absolutely.
conventions as a comedian, so I need
Yes.
to watch it.
Yeah,
And it's
what are you doing?
my entire Facebook feed is nothing but pro wrestlers and stand-up comedians, but they have all united to stop promoting their show
For X-Men '97,
just to say that X-Men '97 is the greatest show ever.
I mean,
And I'm like,
it really,
all right.
it
It's
really,
it's
without
good.
giving anything away because you haven't watched it yet. It is so worth the watch. So
Yeah, it really
worth
is.
the watch.
Sean, have you seen episode 7? Did you watch it yet?
Not yet. I have to watch it.
I watched it this morning.
I have to
Oh,
watch it. I have to watch it. I have to watch it.
Wow, it's a show that continuously gets better and
It gets better
and,
every episode. It's like
Yeah.
there's no downswing. It's all up.
Yes.
It's all up.
Yeah, it
Oh,
just gets better and
so
better.
good.
Yeah, definitely invest some time in that one. That's a good
yeah.
one.
I'm so behind. I got to catch Loki season 2.
Oh wow.
Like,
Yes. Yeah.
I missed all of Moon Knight.
Oh
Like,
my god.
Oh,
so
dude.
behind.
Dude.
They are
No.
not
Get-
doing another season of Moon
Which
Knight,
makes
which
me sad,
saddens me
But
because
it's so good.
yeah, Moon Knight was great.
So if I could jump in with this plug then.
Yeah,
My
Absolutely.
podcast is called Stay Doomed.
Okay.
We cover TV shows that ran one season or less
Mhm.
and give it a verdict if it should stay doomed or if we should have stayed tuned. So-
I like it.
So you might
Now
have to do an episode on X-Men
Now I have to do
'97.
Moon. I might have to do Moon Knight. So
Oh,
Moon Knight, yeah.
well, that too.
Yeah.
Moon
Yeah.
Knight. You
That's
should definitely. Yeah, that's
Oh, wow.
fantastic. Yeah.
I love it.
yeah, so you can check that out. I've also covered such wrestling shows as Wrestling Society X,
Nice.
Mhm.
Heroes of Wrestling,
Love
and
it.
Chikara Action Arcade.
Hell yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
What a
that's great.
fantastic.
All right. Well, there's 1,000 more things that we could talk about, which means
Keep
we're
'em
gonna have to have you back at some time. We try to keep this one.
We're gonna have
to
to
an
save
hour,
it
so-
for another time,
Okay.
but we will
will-
definitely have you back. You are now
Oh,
part
yeah.
of the Opinion City family, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you were pretty much inducted when you kind of joined in on the
Headlocked ABJ.
Headlock ABJ for the post show, but you know,
Yes.
accidentally.
Yes. Well,
But yeah.
can I ask you guys one question?
Oh,
before-
sure.
before
Let's
this?
go.
All right, so I'm working on a video for +2 Wrestling where you can
Okay.
get all of the great Scott Holladay
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm asking the question: who is the greatest baby face of all time outside of wrestling?
Oh.
So in
Oh.
other media,
Ooh.
who is the greatest babyface of all time?
Ooh, that's man.
I'm gonna give you my answer
Ralph can go
because
first.
I already answered this question. I saw it on your Facebook, and I threw something out there. I picked Dr. Mark Green from ER.
Oh wow.
Oh, so you posted a picture, and I was like, I don't know who that is.
right.
And what made me think of that is my wife and I are right now going through a rewatch of ER on Hulu, and I'm like,
oh, really?
This guy literally tries to be a good guy in every single situation, no matter what, even at his own detriment. And I'm like, that's perfect. Like that was my pick.
Okay, all right, I like it. So the only other rule is no real people. So
so I'm glad I picked him.
That's good.
Because I was going to pick like Mahatma Gandhi, but I thought,
there's a lot of calls for like Dolly Parton and like Obama, and I was like, okay, guys, but no, it's not what this is.
I feel like for me, I would need to give it some thought, like more thought than I have, but my brain just scrambled and I went to one name only.
Ooh,
and it's just because I've been following the show since college, and I've been loving it ever since. And plus I caught it on the remake, not even the original stuff. Doctor Who.
Ooh,
because
that's a really good one.
No matter what he does or what he says, even if it's in war, he always wants to be on the positive side of things, and he always wants to see good in everything, even if it's destroying his own world to get there.
That's brilliant. That's a good call.
So, hopefully by the time that this is up, I'll have it done.
Nice.
The idea is to have it out by Friday, and it's not done. But I'm taking all these suggestions, and I'm basically going to do a 30-person battle royal.
Oh wow! Okay,
and I'm basically
that's awesome.
I'm going to break down like this is what makes a good baby face. We have to say goodbye to this person and this person for these reasons and stuff. So
gotcha.
I will officially enter on your behalf, Doctor Who, and what was it, Dr. Fred?
Dr. Mark Green. I will say
Dr. Mark Green.
Fred. Where's Fred come from?
Dr. Fred. Yeah,
Fred.
Dr. Fred. He's my favorite doctor. That's the wrong name.
That's the wrong name. Yeah.
Yes.
Mark
All right.
Green.
Yes. I will send that over to you so you have the name correctly.
That's also the worst wrestling name I could possibly
Mark Green.
Mark Green.
Mark Green.
So if you so you're rabbit hole. We're going down
rabbit hole. Where we go?
So if you had to pick what you thought was the most creative wrestling name that you've heard, what would you pick as your most creative wrestling name?
So
I have a good one.
There is a lost bit of media that we created at the Wrestle Factory.
Okay.
That was a political satire show. It was something like Super Mega Fights or something.
I actually remember that. Like I remember.
Were you there for that one?
I was not there. I remember when that show was booked.
It was this crazy idea of like, can we like do political satire in wrestling? And like we had like the like Filthy Woman and like just lots of like weird political stuff.
Yeah. Right.
And I had to be like the not commentator. I was doing like interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And originally we weren't going to do interviews, and I was like, hey, I have this kind of character I want to do. Is that cool? And got no more questions than that, and I got sure. I was like, all right, cool. So I wore my bright orange suit again. That was terrible. And I had a big fake mustache, and I got a bunch of powdered donuts. Nice. And I rubbed them across my face. And my name was Mike O'Kane.
Oh, wow.
Mike O'Kane here. Ha!
Oh, boy. Wow.
Oh, man.
That's ready for some wrestling. It's Mike O'Kane. Let's go.
That's pretty good.
I never had a reason to break out Mike O'Kane again. But, man, did I love being Mike O'Kane.
That's fantastic.
So
there's my answer. Mike O'Kane.
During the Chikara days, they had one single storyline that they did that I thought was just over the top in all the best ways, and it was when Chuck Taylor lost his name to Stokely Hathaway.
Yeah.
And Stokely became Chuck Taylor TM. And so Chuck Taylor had to come up with a new name for himself. So every show he was trying out a different name. And my favorite of all of them, I mean, it was kind of funny where he came out as like Trent one time. That was
Trent.
But my favorite of the whole thing was where he was announced as, "This is how we do it."
How we doing? Yeah.
There will be times randomly during the day I will think of "This is how we do it," and I'll just laugh.
I was a big fan of Scoot Tatum.
Scoot Tatum was a good one.
Tatum's good.
And I don't know if he ever came out as no gimmicks needed, Mark the Samurai.
I don't think so. I don't believe that.
There was a big list. There. If you Google it, there's like the Chuck Taylor list of names, and that one's always stuck out for me.
Yeah, Scoot Tatum was a good one. Just the ridiculous stuff they can. Oh, here we go. So we've got these are the names I came up with here. Bug Nevins, Trent Beretta,
right.
Top Shelf Slim Perkins, Scoot Tatum, Rick Beanbag.
Oh yes, Rick Beanbag.
There's a whole list.
Touch Phillips, Stewie Scrivens.
Yeah.
This is how we do it.
Yeah.
And Hardwood Rich Mahogany. I mean, the most ridiculous things you could think of. But that whole feud was great, where they were tagging together and wearing the sweaters, and like the whole thing was just, it makes me sad. I miss those days. But
yeah, and I believe we never actually did the match. I don't think we ever got to have the Chuck Taylor match.
No, that feud never properly ended because was it Stokely that left or some one of them left, and that feud was never completely finished.
Because I know the match happened, but not in Chikara.
Right.
Like, there is that match existing somewhere. I forget where it happened.
Yeah.
Right. Before we go off the air, I will just show it real quick. I won't show it too long because you got to go.
I don't know what's happening.
Pause the video if you want to see the whole list. But here is the entire list
of
names of Chuck Taylor.
Wow.
There are so many
There you go.
names.
No gimmicks needed, Steve the Samurai.
Yeah.
You got Buster Norberg, you got Power Cat, Jeff Winslow, the Human Thermometer, Pat Joplin.
Man.
There's so many names. So many crazy names.
Frank Garabass Hernandez.
There's so many good names.
All sack Drew Gulak. That's a good one.
That's a fantastic one. Yeah, there's a lot of good names on here. So many good names.
So much good
If you want to read the whole thing, pause it and go back. But
yes,
he went through
great.
a slew of names. Oh God, so good.
Such good stuff. All right. So before we get up and get out of here, what do you got coming up recently? What shows you got coming? Anything you want to promote?
So be sure to follow me at Scott Holladay on Twitter, Scott Holladay on Instagram, +2 Wrestling on YouTube. My weekly YouTube show where you can find all my thoughts on wrestling and upcoming shows. By the time this has come out, I believe tomorrow, May 18th, will be Best of the Best in Baltimore, Maryland.
Very cool.
One of the biggest tournaments in the East Coast.
Hell yeah.
But by the way, I always brag about this, but I believe I'm the only person to call a Best of the Best, a King of Trios, and a Tournament of Death. So I have the three big tournaments.
You do.
So check that out. Live, awesome. Best of the Best. Then we'll have Limelight the first Sunday in June down in Havre de Grace, Maryland. That's going to be a fun show. I'll also be at SPO Uneffin' Necessary at the Foster City Pine Grove Civic Center for SPO. And probably by the time this went up, there's some other show I forgot. So
right. Perfect.
Well,
CZW is coming to you from Love Park for free. Every second Saturday, I believe, in the summer.
I did see that. That's very exciting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so come free wrestling, Love Park, Philadelphia, where wrestling is at its best. So come to that as well.
Yeah, so definitely make sure you follow Scott on all the socials. Make sure you hit him up on YouTube. Check out.
Too many games as well. I forgot. Too many games.
About too many games. Hopefully,
too many games.
Hopefully we will see you there. That's another exciting event you'll be at. So we thank you for your time. It was great getting to chat it up with you a little bit, and we will definitely have you on again because there's hundreds of things we could talk about. And,
for real.
Yeah,
just scratch the Scott Holladay surface.
That's right. Listen, that well is so deep. I don't know if there's like a kid that fell in and has been down there for 20 years. It's a deep well. So, thanks again for your time. It was great getting to chat it up with you a little bit. Make sure again you follow Scott. Hop on over, check out our Patreon. There's great things there for you, as well as early access to all of the Wrestling with Life videos. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe everything we're doing. We appreciate your support, and we appreciate you joining us again for another episode of Wrestling with Life, and we will be back soon. And that's going to do it for us here. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a great day.
Hey, this is ABJ of the ABJ Podcast, and you're listening to the Opinion City Wrestling with Live series exclusively on Patreon. Enjoy.
Thanks for watching this presentation. Like, share, and subscribe for more.